Hello and welcome. It's Charles Fockaert, January 20th, 2019, the day of the eclipse and the blood moon. It'll be interesting. I was sitting here this morning reading and contemplating and thinking about Jeremiah chapter 1 and 2. Been looking at the life of Jeremiah. He lived in the time where they were going to be Israel was going to be invaded, or the Babylonians from the north were going to come in to the area of Judah and take everyone away, take them captive. And the reason that was happening is because they were being chastised by Yahweh himself. And if you read in Jeremiah chapter 1 and 2, you'll get the history of how the Lord, how Yahweh raised up, knew Jeremiah before he was even in the womb. He knew him while he was in his mother's womb. So he prepared Jeremiah, and he put the words in his mouth. He put his hands on his lips. I mean, he touched the lips of Jeremiah. Yeah, he touched the mouth. I wanted to make sure. Yahweh prepared Jeremiah to go speak to the Israelites. And basically, Jeremiah, if you read it, I'm purposely not putting it up here on the screen so that you'll go get your Bible and you'll look at it yourself. Jeremiah chapter 2. Basically, Jeremiah's there to tell the Israelites that it's your fault. That what's coming, you're not going to like it, but here's why it's coming. And it's your fault. And it's all laid out there what they were doing wrong. And the point I want to make here is that what's coming upon us, the Europeans and the Australians and the Canadians, etc., is our fault. We've departed so far from Yahweh and his law that it's time to pay the piper, as they say. We've made our bed, and now we're going to get to lie in it. Let me just read one verse to you out of Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 8. The priests said not, this is going on at the time, Jeremiah, just before the Babylonians are going to come in and remove everyone. We're being invaded. We're being invaded here, kind of a similar situation. The priest said not, where is Yahweh? And they that handle the law, knew me not. And I like how Schofield here makes a change. He says the rulers, but it's actually in the note, it's shepherds, or pastors. See, the pastors also transgressed against me. The rulers, see, that's what's happened. The pastors have become the rulers, and I could show you from the New Testament, that pastors were not the leaders in the local church. But I don't want to get into the local assembly, the called out ones. I don't want to get into that on this video, but the leadership of the nominal Christian churches is the problem. We're going to pay collectively for what's going on. The shepherds also transgressed against me, and the prophets prophesied by Baal and walked after things that do not profit. That's where we are today, folks. Point is, what's coming upon us is not someone else's fault. Go look in the mirror and then think about 2 Chronicles 7:14. Had heard a sermon by A.W. Pink years ago, and I have it on my hard drive, and I play it every once in a while because it reminds me. And I thought of that sermon by A.W. Pink. It's called The Millions of Nominal Christians. And I'm not going to try to compare the two, but I'm just going to play it because anything Anything I say about this sermon, it won't add anything to it and probably would take away from it. So I'm just going to play the sermon by A.W. Pink, let you get out of it what you should, what Yahweh wants you to get out of it. So here we go. A.W. Pink, Millions of Nominal Christians.
So Many Millions of Nominal Christians by Arthur Pink. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only he who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Matthew chapter 7, verse 21. Holding to the form of godliness, but denying its power. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. Never have there been so many millions of nominal Christians as there are today, and never has there been such a small percentage of real believers. Never has Christendom been so crowded with those who have a form of godliness, but who are strangers to its transforming power. We seriously doubt whether there has ever been a time in the history of this Christian era when there are such multitudes of deceived souls within the churches, who truly believe that all is well with their souls, when in fact the wrath of God abides on them. It is not that those empty professors who call themselves Christians are all conscious hypocrites. Rather are they deceived souls. The tragic thing is that in most churches there is nothing in the preaching which is at all calculated to undeceive them. Instead, there is only that which bolsters them up in their delusion. There is a large class in Christendom today who are satisfied with a bare profession. They have heard some of the fundamentals of the Christian faith and have given an intellectual assent thereto, and they mistake that for a saving knowledge of the truth. Their minds are instructed, but their hearts are not reached, nor their lives transformed. They are still worldly in their affections and ways. There is no real subjection to God, no holiness of walk, no fruit for Christ's glory. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 and 14.